Good evening. Looks like it's working. Big Bad Peter Gaming. Good evening. Dave Hall, Philip Marks, King Oric, Plops of Corn, Ricky Colebrook, Philip G, Mike's Painted Minis, Laura Brand. Good evening. Dahi McGibbon. Good evening. How are we all? Are we all good? Good evening, Tales from the Mountain, from the Mustache. Good morning, Eric Kamanu. Good evening, Chris. Out of sync. Is the audio not working properly? Is there an issue? Hello, Brendan. Hello, Alice. Oh, it's fine now. Okay, good. You startled me. Hello, Captain Manrings. Oh no, we lost a subscriber. Yeah, good. We're all good. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you are all doing very, very well. Having a lovely week. A lovely day. A lovely evening. I hope, or indeed morning. I hope your previous meal that you just had was wonderful. Be that lunch, breakfast, dinner, in between snack, midnight snack, 11's, second breakfast, afternoon tea, whichever it was. I hope it was wonderful. Why are you struggling? Stop being... Very strange. Big Bad Peter Wargaming is kicking us right off with 5 gifted memberships like an absolute legend. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. So, today puts us on 782, which is lovely. Thank you. Today, good evening, Marley. It was actually Chris who reminded me that I haven't done one of these in a while. And I said that, you know, Mondays were kind of part of that for me. But he said you should... What is your problem? Stop it. Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to quickly turn it off and on. I'm still here. You can't see me. So, yeah. So, he said I should do one again because it was really good. Stay focused. Exactly, Philip. Focus camera, damn you. I need to get a new camera, to be honest, for a different thing, but you know, that's something else. So one thing we did last year, a little bit of, and a little bit before, is we did a couple of mental health check-ins so that I could tell you about the things that I face, so that we create an even safer space on the internet than it already is to talk about such things, because I don't think it's brave of me to talk about it, but I know it can help other people to hear some things. And I was thinking today, I was playing COD with Liam and Joe, and they said, "What are you going to stream about tonight?" I said, "I'm probably going to finish some Deathwing." So, "What are you going to talk about?" I didn't really know, and then I spent the afternoon thinking about it, and I was like, "Do you know what? January has already been like a sine wave, and I'm right at the beginning of January, as you know. I put out that video about the old world content and how it felt like failure and this, that, and the other. You know, the beginning of January, I struggled, really struggled, because it was a, from my perspective, I think I explained this in the video, but I'll explain it again. From where I'm at, I have particular standards, and I have particular schedule, and I have particular deadlines that have all been carefully crafted to, one, mean that I deliver content on time, two, that I can grow the channel, three, that I'm able to financially support myself and pay my way in this house, between Alice and I, and three or four, it is my job, right? So it's all these kinds of things. There's lots and lots of things, right? So I have all of these certain things, right? And they are all, like, you know, self-inflicted. Could I choose not to do anything for a week? Of course I could. But that in the long term has a knock-on effect that will affect kind of the delicate ecosystem, right? And that can sometimes feel like pressure, because it's essentially I'm running my own business, and I'm running my own business via making videos on YouTube, right? And that is what it is. So that adds a lot of pressure. And so when I felt like I wasn't going to be able to deliver the things that I wanted to, I kind of my kind of foresight of brain, I always plan for the worst, right? I think we all do in some perspective. I think we all get stuck in you know, all the bad things that can possibly happen, rather than all the positive things that could potentially happen. And from my end, what I always worry about is letting people down, even though I know there is no pressure from you guys to do it, or to do a thing, or to make sure that there is a thing, or to be even on time. You know, I know, well, you know, be on time for the live stream, Josh, because you said 8:30. Be on at 8:30, not 8:31, not 8:32, 8:30. Well, I was on at 8:31, so I can only apologise that was a minute late. But where I was at the beginning of this year, because I was going to miss the deadline, in my mind, it was kicking off 2024 on a low note, and that then for the next 365 days, it was going to be an eternal struggle to keep up, to catch up, and that I was only ever going to fail at that, right? So that was the initial belief. And like, if this year isn't barnstorming and I don't hit some of my goals and this, that, and the other, then I can also be very goal orientated, very checklist orientated. If I don't do something or get something out or complete what I want to get to, I can absolutely fall apart. Sometimes I'm fine, but sometimes it is just, I can absolutely collapse. And when that happens, I lose all of that forward momentum, and I just kind of crash into a brick wall and want to kind of exist within a puddle of my own mental goo, where I am the worst, and nobody should ever waste their time or emotional investment in me or whatever I do, because why would anyone care? That's where I go, right? And that's a really rough perspective to have on yourself, especially when you know it's not really true. So yeah, that's how this year kicked off. Because of external factors that I couldn't even control. But one of the things that like people always say, they're like, "Oh, we love how you just do so much for us. You're so great. You're so wonderful." And I go, I can't deliver on that thing, so I'm going to be disappointing all those people. And I know that's insane. It's absolutely insane, right? So I hate to be a disappointment. I hate to let people down. It's not a fun space for me to be in, right? Anyway, a little bit of context for January, for you there. The last couple of weeks, however, as you know, on Mondays we've been streaming in Me Time Mondays, which was something I was hoping to plan to do in December, to introduce it to the content raft. And I think I was talking to Alice and I said I've just got to start doing this. I just have to, because otherwise we're gonna I'm not gonna do well, you see. So we've been doing Me Time Mondays, and actually already in January, even taking that 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours to do these things, to do the things that I want to do for me at that time, it has been it's like created a pillar of a foundation of self-care. And I actually didn't realize until this afternoon, when I was thinking about what I was going to talk tonight, I didn't realize quite how much I had missed doing specifically something for me, just because I wanted to do it for me, for Warhammer. I didn't realize how much I had missed that. And that's not to say that like there hasn't been stuff that I've done in the last year and a half that hasn't been amazing and I've really wanted to do it. Of course not. Cities of Sigmar, 100%. That was all something I really desperately wanted to do. Flesh Eater Courts, etc., etc. There's been loads of incredible things that I've been able to do in the last sort of 18 months. That I've wanted to do, but the focus wasn't on me. There's a detachment between Cities of Sigmar, for example. Cities of Sigmar, there are still 7 unpainted steel helms from that army set, because they are set aside to make content with, and they give me anxiety every time I look at them, because I wonder when I'm going to find the time to actually make the content with them. And that's what I mean. There's that detachment of, this isn't a box for me, this is a box for work. So what I wanted to talk about this evening, is that the last couple of weeks, the last sort of 2 weeks, I've been in a steadily improving state where I've just felt really good, and that is in no small part to the just wonderfulness of the people around me. Alice, number one, she's a huge help all of the time. When she lets us watch 2 episodes of something like Ted Lasso, even though it'll be 2 hours of the evening, that means the world to me, because it's it's something for us to do. When I need someone to kick my ass up the stairs, she'll do it. That's huge. And she just looks after me in so many different ways, right? She's an absolute rock. But also, further to that, I'm seeing all of the names in the chat here. All of you. I see you every week. And often when I do a live stream, switching the live stream button on is when my heart beats 1,000 miles an hour, because I get really nervous. And the nervousness comes from fear of saying or doing or showing something that just doesn't go down well. That suddenly today is going to be the day where we're just full of trolls and everyone basically tells me to go and jump off a cliff or something like that. Just I worry that is always going to be the thing, and it never is, and I hope it never will be. Sometimes you watch live chats of other content creators and you're like, I'm glad these people are so famous and big and there's so many people watching that they can't actually physically read the chat, because I think it would kill them. Because it would kill me to see those things. And, but my point is, I mean, there's 77 concurrent viewers here from this point, from where we are now, from where we were last year. That's a doubled audience. And this is a quiet Wednesday, and I love that so much. But I recognize so many names every single week, and the feeling I get more and more as I turn on these streams is like walking into a pub where everyone, all your mates are going to be. And you'll see new faces and you'll see familiar faces, or in this case, names. And it's a time for us to sit together and be together. And I never thought that live chat would be a live on the internet, broadcasting my thoughts to the unlimited potential of millions. I never realized that this would be as such a supportive but also comfortable space to be in. And so tonight, all as I really want to say to every single one of you guys out there who are in the chat right now, and anybody who's watching in the on-demand, somebody left a comment saying this is the catch-up crew just saying hey, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I just want to say to all of you that you do more for this individual human, not the painter, not the YouTuber, not the content creator. You do more than you might perhaps realize just by simply existing and chatting and being here and being you guys. Okay? And I think one thing I'm learning this year is that even more and more so, that it's okay to be just me. I don't have to be anything or anyone. And I think the highest compliment I can give is that by meeting you, all of you, by chatting with you on a weekly basis, you have enriched my life beyond measure. So if anyone out there ever feels like they might be, might not feel like they've done a good enough job or something today, just remember that, that you enriched my world, and you made this person a happier person, a calmer person, a more stable person, and I'll be forever grateful. I'll be forever grateful to every single one of you. And that's not to say, I'm later this year, I'm probably going to crash. Of course I am. I'll get tired and I'll get stressed out and I'll get upset for no apparent reason. I need to hug Mr. the Hipster right now. Oh. I'm sending a virtual hug to everyone. That's kind of what today is about. You crash, you come to us. Exactly, I will, Kurt. I think I've been guilty in the past of holding it back until I'm ready to talk about it, and I think at other times I have felt it has been better when I have just talked about it in the moment. Because the other difficult part of it is, you know, sometimes it can just feel like first world. It is just first world problems, right? But it's sometimes difficult to communicate that actually it's not about what I'm actually doing. It's not about that. Is that my brain is imploding and I can't control that. You see what I mean? You guys are being very lovely in the chat. Oh, Martin, that's very kind of you. That's it. I mean, like, I'll always owe a debt. Always. And I'll never be able to repay it. I'll never be able to repay that properly to everyone. And all I can do is move forward. And sometimes forward is hard, but forward is important. And, you know, the bits where I struggle is when I feel like I can't move forward. Or that I'm not going to move forward, as it were. I started my veterans therapy the other Friday, and just waffling to her about everything has helped already. Crazy how chatting just helps too. Yeah. It's funny, like, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who said, you know, how do you cope with just talking to complete strangers? I said, well, they don't. Nobody really feels like a complete stranger, you know, because we talk all the time here. You know, people are very open with me, very honest with me, but also, whilst I may not ever get, I don't often get the chance to talk one-to-one unless we all go to an event at some point. You know, there are people who say that, like, just having my stuff on sometimes really helps, and, like, I think that we're all connected in that way, and, you know, just reading your messages sometimes when somebody just goes, even if someone's like mildly taking the piss. Like I said, it can be quite a lonely road, this, especially, you know, I'm at the size of the YouTube channel where I don't have a colleague yet. So we don't have anyone turning up to come to work. We don't have anything like that going on just yet. And so, you know, when we eventually get to that, you know, it might feel a little bit less lonely. But sometimes, just being a solo painter on your Todd can feel a little bit isolating. But I never feel that too strongly. Not really. I often only ever think about that when somebody mentions that, and like I'm only thinking about it now because I've somehow tangentially gone onto it. And like I don't ever really feel all of that because because I come on here on a Wednesday and, you know, there's 85 friends here. Which is a lot of friends all in one place. It's like we're at a wedding or something. And, you know, it's an unbelievable monument that I think that we've built around here. And I hope I never get nervous. I hope I never stop being a little bit nervous when I come on here. Because if I think I did, that would feel a little bit to me like I was taking this for granted. And I never do. Ever. It's a treat and a privilege to do what I do. And to do it for all of you. And with all of you. I think maybe I should change some of my catchphrases, right? Because I always say that Games Workshop has sent this to me, or such and such has sent this to me to build up and paint for all of you. And I might change that to with. I feel like that's more accurate. I'll have to break that habit. Oh, always put laughing emojis, Colonel. Unless you're laughing at me. If I said, guys, I'm really, really sad today, and you just went laughing emoji, I would be like, bro. Today's been one of the hardest days I've ever had. Laughing emoji. Oh, man. Soz. Laughter is always important. It's one of those things. I wish I could, but I mean, you are all part of the channel. You absolutely are. You're a huge, huge fundamental part of it. You know, we are building a community based on love, trust, help, respect, support, community. You know, and we are doing that. You know, I make the videos, I make the live streams, we have the chats, you guys are in the chat being awesome, being hilarious, being wonderful, being incredible people, being paragons and examples of humanity that only somebody like me could have hoped for to have as part of their group, you know. There are some people out there who have communities where there's maybe one person in there who's nice. The rest are all just not angry at the person. They're just angry at stuff, or you know, demanding of things, or you know, a little bit mean. You know, there are communities out there that are like that, and there's none of that here because I ban them if they turn up. Actually, I haven't had to ban anyone. I've had to hide a few people. Usually just because, you know, they're telling me that they hope that I should just cease operations because I'm a pathetic loser or something like that. And you know, I have a thick enough skin to understand that when somebody leaves a comment on YouTube, it's generally not because I'm bad or anything like that. It's generally because they're having a bad day and they've decided to take it out on me as somebody they don't know, and as somebody as they think who can take it or whatever. I understand that. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes they get in here and I go, nope, that person's out. See ya. Blocked. You just missed out on over 700 videos of tutelage. That's your problem, not mine. But most of the time, I don't ever have to do it. Don't you live in Cheltenham? That can't be easy anyway. Yeah, I mean, Cheltenham is what it is. I did paint the silver left wrong. Yeah, exactly. And I do the basing wrong as well. And everything I do just looks like what GW did, so everyone should just watch GW's videos as well. That was one recently. I was like, I mean, fair play. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody say everyone should just watch GW's videos anyway instead. It's like, you're a brand ambassador, you are. It wasn't meant that way, but that is exactly how it comes across. I'm actually watching your tutorials on the Cursed City paint schemes as I've just bought the box set and I'm loving it. I was talking about Cursed City just yesterday. How can you base wrong when you never base? Exactly, Chris. You weren't here for that. I was told you should never, ever, ever, ever paint the rim of a base black. It should always be a darker version of the main colour of your model. So if you paint a gold model, you should use Warplock Bronze or Balthazar Gold as the rim of your base, as an example. Exactly, Laura. I know, right, Chris? It's very, very, very old advice. It's also completely counterintuitive to what a lot of product has been for. Goblin green bases, anybody? You know? It is what it is. You can never please everybody, but that's not the point, is it? Sometimes you're always going to upset someone by merely existing. Like that one person who dislikes every single thing I do, without fail, immediately after upload. Which means they are subscribed and they have the notifications bell turned on, just so that they can do that. You know? Vincey V's iconic words, base rims can be any colour as long as it's black. Well, Marley, far be it for me to tell Vince that he's wrong. But a man on the internet told me. I've got a question when it comes to painting an entire army. I'm painting my FEC army as Gristlegore. Should all the units in the army have the same blue skin? Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know as if it really matters for Flesh Eater Courts. Not really. I think as long as it's a kind of predominant colour. So, like, for example, the core of my Flesh Eater Courts is definitely Morgaunt, but I now have all of those Hollow Morn and Blister Skin and stuff. And there's no reason why they can't be in the army either, because, you know, for ghouls, they all just look horrible anyway. It doesn't really matter. Does it look cool if they're all the same colour? Sure. But does it make sense? Probably not. So, you can do whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. Live! So ultimately, yeah, I think if you just do like the majority or like the core of your army, like so, as Gristlegore, like I think as long as like depends how many units you have really, maybe 4 or 5. There's variations within that as well. Like you can add lighter blues, you can add darker blues, you can even veer towards green, that kind of thing. Or you can just cover them in blood, as Martin Roberts says there. Thanks a million for the awesome Giliath videos. I bought the box for Christmas. I've been having a blast painting along with those vids. Oh, Reverend Rover. My man. Glad you're enjoying them. I hope you're going to do the new Kroot. I've wanted to do 40k for ages and only interest in Kroot, but I need thou wise guidance in the art of contrast. If Games Workshop sends them to me, I will do them. And if not, I shall paint the Farstalker Kinband to try and be part of the conversation on the day. Good evening, you male Angmar. Are you okay, buddy? You cannot please everyone and you should never try to. You do you and keep moving forward. Well, exactly. I mean, I was never going to please everyone anyway, right? I use contrast paints. You know, first impressions are hard to shift when you paint predominantly with a product that people deemed a failure on arrival. It's always going to be it's always going to be an interesting one. Can anyone get onto Warhammy's website at the moment? Oh, I haven't tried. Did they send you Kill Team? And when they do send you stuff, do you feel pressure to have to paint it, even if it's something you aren't too enthusiastic about? You raise a great question there, Niall. No, there is no pressure to do anything that anyone sends you unless they directly pay you money for, and you agree to that. So, if for example, a brush company said, we want you to review our brushes and we'll pay you £150 for a 10-minute spot in a video, then if you say yes to it, then you have to do it. Otherwise, no. And when Games Workshop sends content, product to you, you are under no obligation to do anything with said product. The part where I can sometimes feel pressure to do something if I'm not particularly enthused about it is if I take a look at something that they have sent me and I deem that it'll be too much work for very little reward. So, as an example of that, sadly, MESBG, Middle-earth Strategy Battle Games, is always a risk. Because for whatever reason, those videos just don't do as well. Generally, they don't tend to do as well as a 40k video, and that's just due to player base and people who are picking up the game new and therefore looking for painting advice, or people who are in the habit of looking for painting advice generally aren't people doing MESBG, because it's a smaller game, sadly, right? So if I do a video how to paint even like the most boring of thing from 40k, I don't know, how to paint insert guard regiment here versus how to paint Gandalf the White. The guard regiment video 99 times out of 100 will do better than the Gandalf video, even though the Gandalf video is really cool and it's Gandalf, right? So sometimes Games Workshop release things that you just kind of look at and go, I don't think anyone's really going to want to watch that video. No one's really going to care, because it might not be a particularly popular model, or it might be a scheme you've done a bunch of before. That's where my unenthusiasm comes from, of, I don't think anyone's going to want to watch this, you know? So why am I struggling away at it? There. Oh, they haven't said anything yet. Ed. Have you considered doing how to paint pale skin rather than how to paint witch elf? You could then paint a wider variety of models while gearing towards a specific skill rather than a model. Yeah, I have thought about that in the past. Sometimes recipe videos do really well, and sometimes they fall flat on their face. It's really interesting. You got to remember as well, people can be really impatient. So if you put out a 35-minute video that is, this is a great example, is the cultists video I did, which is 10 different recipes for flesh. I believe that's what it's called. Hang on, let me look it up. Yeah, 10 contrast plus skin recipes and how to paint chaos cultists. And that, you know, that video is a year old, and it's had 25,000 views, which is, it's all right. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's just quite good. That one's done well, ish. But if I look up Ultimate Contrast Plus Purple Cloak Guide, 23,000 views. Ultimate Contrast Plus Red Cloak Guide, 12,000. How to Paint Cream Robes, 7.8. Ultimate Contrast Plus Black Armor Guide, 40,000 views. See, it's very variant. So if you attach a brand new miniature, it can go one of two ways. People can either be looking up how to paint. Let's take an example of Lilith Hesperax. People could be looking up how to paint Lilith Hesperax's hair, or they could just be looking up how to paint Lilith Hesperax. And your video drops down the SEO the more and further away it is from the most popular search term. And you have to just guess, because nobody knows what search terms people are using to Google to look up how to paint a model that nobody has yet. There's no data on that. So you have to balance that out of what's the right thing here versus what's the wrong thing. Like, the one thing I get advised constantly by other people is drop the word contrast from your title. And I'm like, but if I do that, people will come in and they'll be like, too many contrast, but get out of it. And I don't want to turn my comment section into me being bullied for not using Abaddon Black instead of Black Legion. See what I mean? So, because I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. Like, that sends me into either a pathetic heap or into a rage. When even 5 years later, people come in and tell me that it's a product for talentless people or beginners, and I'm like, okay, thanks. The algorithm seems stressful. It really is. It is very stressful to keep up with. That's why I do a video on a Thursday and a Saturday, is because if you look at the times when my audience is most active, those are the times to do it. YouTube also likes regularity. It likes to see things at the same time every time, so that it knows when to send push notifications. So if I put something out at a time that is weird on a different day, rather than on the days I normally do it, YouTube is just like, well, you missed the deadline, bro, so we're not going to send this video to anyone. Which is why they always say, you know, click the bell so that you get the notifications for all. But you still don't get notifications for all. I have the bell turned on for a load of people, and I don't always get the notification when someone goes live. I don't always get the notification when someone posts a video. I really don't get notifications when people put shorts out, because I don't consume YouTube shorts very often. Hey, Lord Billy. That's the thing, though, is you can. It's a strange attitude to have, as you're all saying. You don't understand that either. Uh, the weird thing is if somebody hates something, you can go. For example, right? You can go. Here is a Deathwing Knight, and this was painted using an airbrush and Vallejo paints, right? So you can do that, and then you can go. Here is another Deathwing Knight, and this was painted with contrast paints. And to be clear, this is not how these were painted, and this was painted with contrast paints. And you can look at them and go, well, they functionally look exactly the same. Those two models look exactly the same. There's no difference between them other than perhaps the choice of colour. But if somebody hates something, they'll say, this one looks terrible and that one looks amazing. And there's nothing you can do to change their mind, even if it looks exactly the same, even if it looks identical. Because they've already made up their mind about a thing. They've already decided that anything that uses that is going to be awful. And anything that uses that is an object of quality. So if you take, for example, if you were, I'm not saying these are as good as, but if you were to put the heavy metal version next to this one, and that one, or whatever, and you went, oh yeah, no, they look very similar. But if you said that the heavy metal one was done with contrast paints and that this one was done with an airbrush, people would still pick the. Some people are so determined that the contrast paints are going to look bad that they'll say that that one looks better in the airbrush. Again, these were painted with contrast paints, exactly the same way as I normally do. Video coming soon, because that's one of the things we're going to be working on tonight. You've had an awful week, Raz. Oh. Do you want to talk about it? Are you still abroad? Is there anything I can do to make your week better, Rich? So how are the old world minis going? Do you know what scheme you're going to do on the Bretts? No, not yet. I want to do Coronia. I've probably absolutely butchered that. The blue and red. But I might do something different. I have now returned to being Ghost Hipster because I'm going to slap this overhead on. So this is what I've been working on today. These three bad boys. And so I want to do a little bit of extra work on them now. With you guys here. If that's alright, if you don't mind. So I'm just going to do a couple of little highlights here. Hello, Chewy. You're here just in time for Deathwing. So, if anyone has any painting questions, or any thoughts they'd like to add, or indeed any stories, any situations, any questions, any likes on the stream, any super chats, any memberships, all are welcome right now. And I've said all the things I need to say as a YouTuber, so you can now enjoy as I painstakingly highlight these things. So this is Warpstone Glow, and I am filming these at the moment, but I don't need to film all three of them at the same time, if you see what I mean. So Warpstone Glow is going to be used as the highlight for the green. Well, the first highlight for the green. Just like this. Of course, the issue with painting live is, in my video, I get to say, just like this. And then I turn the camera off, and I sit back and relax. Whereas on a live stream, obviously, just like this isn't the magic turn off the camera button. Is that overlapped a little bit? Yes. Sorry, we can get it. Oh, Colonel, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. That's very kind of you. I built something last night which is wicked cool that I can't tell you about, but you're all going to be very excited for it when it comes out. It made me very excited. It's quite a pleasurable experience building it as well. It's quite fiddly, but not in a bad way. Oh, Warpstone Glow, you fickle mistress. What do you think? Oh yeah, forgot about his shield. Warpstone Glow is absolutely one of those paints that needs a a little bit of a reformulation, because it's a lovely tone of colour, but sometimes its application is just an absolute pain in the arse. Because then you get it on there and you go, hang on, that's not bright enough. So then you do it again and you go, oh, no, that's too bright. And then you end up doing... So with me, with Warpstone Glow, I'm just like, I just have to trust the process. There we go. You enjoying the music, Chewy? Good. Very important. Can we convert our development mortgage into a 0% mortgage for the rest of its term? For the rest of its term? Oh, I don't know. But don't you have to be savvy folks who swap their mortgage to mortgage providers once every 5 years to get a better rate? I need to update this because of Colonel's wonderful gifted memberships right there. Your question got buried. Oh no, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let me see if I can find it. What was your question? I can't find it. Can you re-ask? Also gone from a chapter master to a Lord Commander. Could be something to do with me becoming a very big fan of AOS. Lord Commander Bastian Carthalos, Joe Thalos. Hello, Hunter SWC, and indeed all hail George the Dreadnought. A true legend of Warhipster fame. Of the Warhipster history. War history. No, not war history. That's something else entirely. Oh, this one's going to be annoying. Okay, I'm going to have to get in there and correct that. we go. How do you keep yourself motivated to paint so many of the same miniatures? I generally couldn't paint a whole army. I never finish them. That's a good question. Well, I mean, I keep them down to sizes of 5, so I'm only painting 5 Deathwing Knights at the moment. I've done 2, so actually, really, I'm only painting 3 at the minute. The first 2 were to map it out. The next 3 are to film. But when it comes to painting a whole army, again, I just do the same thing. I keep it in sizes of 5. I batch paint in units of 5, blocks of 5, because any more than that, it then becomes overwhelming, and I don't want to do it. Hey, James. I cannot wait to paint mine. I can't wait to see yours. Hopefully on an episode of Tale of Many Warhipsters. Curious how you would approach the blue horrors. For your pink horror guide, you took 4:1 thin down pink before layering. Which contrast blue would you approach for blue horrors? Chewie used a 1:1 Talazar blue medium mix. That does sound nice. Assaman blue is also a good shout there. Depends on how bright you want them to be. Let me look at a blue horror. Blue horrors. It's actually closer to Frostheart these days. Maybe I would go for something like Frostheart, do a little recess shading with Drakenhof Nightshade, and then highlight it with Baharoth Blue, maybe. Yeah. Or Blue Horror. But then you get... Yeah, that is probably how I would do it, actually. If I had 10 painting handles, it would be dangerous. Because I would do them in batches of 10 and I would hate it. Everything would stress me out. Okay, here we go. This is where it can all go wrong. Because this is moot green now. Oh, that was stressful. That was pretty good. This is my favourite part about highlighting something like this is I think it goes from looking really good to looking just exceptional at times. Just by adding just a little bit of extra highlighting. It just kind of provides that extra structure. Like that. We're watching Ted Lasso now, Conic. Submission date for this month's Tale of Many Warhipsters. That is a great question. Well, it'll be the 30 days in September, April, June, and November. It'll be 31st of January. And then the stream date, let me get a calendar up. The stream, I reckon, will be on the 7th So the hard deadline is the 31st of January, but we all know that means a soft deadline of the 6th of January, 6th of Feb. Um, let me just scroll up here. When you're going to build and paint a Gunpla, maybe one day. The 5 batch is such good advice. I'm currently absolutely suffering through a 10 sister squad, but I never have any trouble with 5 and under units. I wish I had split the sisters into 2 squads. Yeah, I mean, it keeps it nice and manageable, especially there's always something, and I advise you to figure this out about your units that you're painting. I know what it is for me with Space Marine. When I paint Space Marines, right? Thing I hate, backpacks. I hate painting backpacks. Don't know why. I hate painting backpacks. So I get to the backpacks and I'm like, I don't want to do these, which is why I do them in batches of 5, because then I only have to do 5 backpacks. It's not the rest of it. I don't mind. I paint these Deathwing Knights absolutely fine, no backpacks. I just hate painting Space Marine backpacks, and I can't tell you why. So figure out the thing that you don't like about them. If you like the whole thing, I could probably have batch painted 10 Deathwing Knights. They're fine. Yeah. I was a big fan, and I am excited to see you paint the Deathwing Knights. They are my favourite unit, and their new models look amazing. I can't wait to see what you do with them. Well, it's on its way. Video hopefully will be ready in time for Saturday. Do you find Fireslayer Flesh, Stormfiend, and Creed Camo difficult to get smooth? I've just had such a nightmare with them on an Ogre that I reverted to traditional paints. Yeah. Stormfiend not so much. I think Stormfiend's really good, but Fireslayer Flesh certainly can be a pain in the arse, as can Creed Camo. The other ones as well, Dark Angels Green and Shyish Purple, very similar. Sometimes it's easier to just take 4 parts of it, 3 or 4 parts of it, and put 1 of Lamian in there, and it just improves the flow of them immediately. And Big Bad Peter Gaming, thank you so much for the 5. That's very kind of you. I will be using Wildwood as a base colour for my Sylvaneth, but was wondering what colours to use for dry brush to add variety. Bombardment indeed. Best dry brush for brown, Karak Stone. Absolutely love it. If you want a slightly paler one, Baneblade Brown is also good. But Karak Stone looks amazing over Wildwood. It really does. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Because it's got that kind of... It's brown, but it's not brown. So like you could go for a brown, so you could dry brush them with Wildwood. You could dry brush them with something like Steel Legion Drab as well. It's closer to Wildwood. But Karak Stone just adds a really nice extra pale highlight, which is really sick. I dry brush pretty much all of my Sylvaneth with Karak Stone, I think. If you check out my videos on them, you'll see it. I'm a little bit darker because I mix Wildwood and Black Templar, I think, or Cygor Brown and Black Templar. But fundamentally, it's still the same thing. It looks good. Damn, though. Hey, Hipster. I hope you're doing good. Stay healthy and care about yourself. Much love from UA. Thank you, Damn, though. I am doing good. Yeah, like today, like I said, today I was thinking just about how we've done. For those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, I was thinking about how we've done streams as a mental health check-in before. I've told you about mental health tribulations, trials and tribulations that I've faced. And today I was catching you up on what the beginning of January was on, but that's not the focus. Really, the most of January has been exceptionally positive for me. I'm in a very, very, very good place. I feel truly blessed. And, you know, I said in Discord, I think Philip actually asked if there was going to be a stream tonight. He said there is. Prepare yourself for compliments. Because honestly, like I said earlier, I treasure this time. I treasure each and every one of you, and I feel really blessed by all of you. And I was just comparing doing these live streams to stepping into into a pub where you know everybody. Is generally how it feels. Especially if you know, you're nice and lovely. I don't hate painting any parts. James, I wish I could be more like you. Because there's sometimes some models I'm just like, I don't want to do it. Brrr. Well, green's finished on 2 of them. I need to do it on the 3rd one. So the thing that's left for these is doing all of the red, doing the bone of the armor, doing corrections if it needs to be done using this one, and then we need to highlight the brass, the gold, and we need to do the silver. We're doing okay, thank you, Cameron. Actually, no, we're doing fantastic. You should put on the Cheers theme tune. I should, but I don't want to get copyright struck. What's your Dark Angels green recipe these days? Still Carandra's undercoat? Yeah, if I was painting Dark Angels, it would be. For these, it's just... I am painting Dark Angels. Just for the cloaks, it's just Dark Angels green. 3 parts Dark Angels green to 1 part Lamia medium. Just to get it done. On this one, though, because I wanted it to be darker, I have just done a little bit of Caliban green over the shield. So you see it's a bit darker than the cloak. So I wanted it to be just that little bit darker on the shield because it's a bit more armoured. On Belial, same thing. 3 parts Lamia, 3 parts Dark Angels green to 1 part Dark Angels. 3 parts Dark Angels green to 1 part Lamium medium, and then it's been shaded with Baletan green. This video is out tomorrow. The cloak, the back of his cloak. So you've got the inner green there, but his cloak is darker. That is 3 parts Dark Angels green to 1 part Lamy medium, and then shaded with Pterodon turquoise, highlighted with Cabalite green, and then Cyberite green, and it looks gorgeous. I love this colour so much. So, dumb question for Old World. Do you need to rebase, or can you just squeeze them into a movement tray? Not got my hand on the books yet, so just wondering. That is an interesting question, Alaric. I personally wouldn't have a problem if you had round base miniatures in a rectangle movement tray, as long as it didn't occupy more space than they actually should. But I suspect some people would make you rebase them. I'm not entirely certain. Evening, Josh. Hope you're well. Currently working on a gore recipe for my beastmen, and sad I don't have my square bases or rulebook, but our mutual acquaintance is helping me with that. I'm glad he's helping. He's so excited for Old World, and I love it. That man's hobby passion, when he's super hyped for it, it is one of the purest things in the world, and it is impossible to not be revved up and excited for it as well. It's what made him so good at doing the job where I met him. You might be able to get, actually thinking about it, Alaric, there are some places that will do round bases to square base converters. War Factor, I think, are one. Check out warfactor.eu. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So if you check out these individuals, they'll do a round base to square base converter, which you can just slot your round base into. Do you write down the colours for a set of models when painting? I can go a few weeks between painting a squad and forget what colours I've used. No, I don't, Ross. I look back through my... I stay very focused on the unit. I try to, anyway. Like, there are some times where I get wrong. One thing I would recommend is start a YouTube channel, because then you can watch your old videos in case you need to find a recipe again, if you can remember it. But I don't write down. I don't write them down. I know this because I did Belial. So like the reds are highlighted with Wild Rider and then Fire Dragon Bright because I did that on Belial. Screaming Skull works as a really nice corrective layer for Seraphim Sepia shaded Wraithbone, and I know that from previous videos. Powdered Witch Flesh is a good highlight for this as well, so that's what we're doing. Rune Lord Brass highlight in the Triad for Castellax Bronze. Liberator Gold, highlight for gold. Silver is the highlight for my silver, but because we're doing that sort of... You see this? No, not him. This thing. That's Black Templar. My hobby passion this evening is mostly being spent stopping the cats fighting over the new hobby area, which is just a changed around space. Oh, they started doing that the other night. Do you reckon there's anything you'd change with a very awesome Avatar of Cain tutorial, just the usual Black Legion instead of pre-shading Black Templar? Yeah, that's probably what I would change. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't change very much else. What's the functional difference between Black Templar and Black Legion? I can show you. So Black Templar, I'll show you on my hand. It's always the easiest way of doing it. This is Black Templar, right? Black Templar, when you apply it to an area, comes out as a dark grey. Black Legion, when you apply it to the same area, comes out black. So Black Templar is a more see-through, it's more translucent black, because it's black, but it looks like dark grey when you put it over white, basically. So whereas Black Legion it's more opaque, so it covers over better, which means it looks more black. Whereas if you put Black Templar over the top of other colours, it will add black to that colour, so it becomes a dark black blue, or dark purple black. Whereas Black Legion just comes out black. Shall I demonstrate a sword for you now? Do you want to see it? This is what I'm talking about when I have to remind myself of what my... in here. Shush. Yeah, it was 1-1. Okay. Okay, so it is what we do is we take one big dollop and two big dollop and three big dollop of Black Templar, and then one of Lamian, two of Lamian, and three of Lamian medium. And we give that a good mix together on the palette. And then on our sword, what we do is we start down here. And we put it up to around about halfway like that. Wash the brush. Touch off the water. Then we get in there and blend it. And then down the other half. There's way too much on my brush there. Do the same thing. Like that. I think Blood Angel's Blade Guard tabards are black usually. And then on the inside we do the same thing again. Just this time on the opposite sides. Like that. That's using Black Templar. And then if needs be, if you want to go darker, you can just do it again. But just do a little bit less, as it were. So apply the Black Templar like that. Wash the brush. Just using the same mix. So it's functionally 1-to-1. but I used 3. So it's a 3 to 3. And then you leave that to dry for a minute. You recently got me into Warhammer, the Age of Sigmar. Yes. I've chosen to go down the route of Iron Jaws, and your unbelievable in-depth painting guides on them. Was just wondering, will you ever do a Maw Crusher? Yes, I will. I have a Maw Crusher to do. Just need to build it and paint it. If Black Legion is a more or less opaque black, why would you use it over a regular acrylic black, such as Abaddon? Any benefits over that? Well, one, you don't have to pull out a load of Abaddon black and thin it down and then do 2 thin coats when you're doing it over a bright base coat, a bright primer. And 2, Black Legion will still do a bit of that contrasting effect. So if you want to have that kind of darker in the recesses, lighter on the top bits, it absolutely works. So like if you look, for example, just there, I think you probably won't be able to see it really well on the camera. So if you look just in here, for example, that's been Black Legioned. Whereas using Abaddon black, I'd have to do 2 thin coats of that, whereas Black Legion just goes straight on. And actually it's a subtle enough highlighting effect that I think it already looks fine. It doesn't need an additional highlight. Slightly better example of that probably is the up here. You see how there's just a very subtle highlighting going on there, which is nice. But yeah, it just means you only have to put down the 1 coat. You don't have to thin anything down, run the risk of not thinning it down enough or thinning it down too much and gumming up your details, for example. And also it just goes on really quickly. Contrast paint, especially Abaddon black. Not Abaddon black, Black Legion. Baal Red is similar. Imperial Fist is another one that's very similar. They just go on really quickly, and then once they're on, and then they're done, which is, great. You can then shade them, and then you're pretty much off to the races. Okay, so once that Black Templar is applied, right? What we then do is we take Lead Belcher. So there's Lead Belcher. And I'm going to put 1 blob of this on here. And then I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4 of water. 5 of water, because I want it to be really runny. So it gives us a glaze consistency with the metallic, which means it will separate on the palette. And what it'll look like is it'll look like that. So it'll look like kind of just glittery water, but that's okay. That's what we want. We then wash the brush and take a small amount of this on our brush, not too much at all. And then we apply this like that over the bit we want to be shiny. Wash the brush and then just feather it away. Like that. But you really don't want loads of this on your brush as you do this. Because it can get away from you. You almost don't need to do the edge down here, but we'll still add a little bit of this. Like that. What do you think? Do you guys like that? So then, to finish it off, I should point out that the base of it is lead belcher, shaded with Griff Charger Grey. Now remember, if you follow this video when it comes out, this is thinned down Iron Breaker. Remember that if you follow this tutorial when it comes out, that if you're going to use contrast paints for this, that contrast paints are for amateurs and beginners. At least according to the man on the internet. because, you know. The only way you can achieve this effect is with an airbrush. But I personally think that that looks incredible. Let me know what you think. So there. I'll go over it again. Base coat with lead belcher. Shade it with Griff Charger Grey. Then use a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Black Templar. You can do it as many times as you like. You can do it once or you can do it twice. Up to you. Then use lead belcher mixed with water to create a silver glaze. And then highlight with Ironbreaker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps in total. But it can be as much as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or even just 4 if you don't want to do the highlights. And it's exactly how I did this fellow's sword as well. If you wanted a more blue power blade, what would you use instead? Depends on how dark blue you wanted it to be. If you wanted to go as dark as that, you could use Leviathan blue. You probably would have to do it twice. Or you could build up Drakenhof Nightshade, but that would take ages. You could even try like a 1-to-1 of Lahmian and Ultramarines blue, but it wouldn't go as dark as that. I occasionally have some good ideas. How could I give Stormcast weapons a lightning, as in a lightning style effect using that technique? I would use like probably something like Maybe something like Frostheart, and then add some lightning, like drawing the lightning on. Let me see. Let me think. Because God, he's very dusty. Hang on. Could you put thin white lines before you put the blue on? Yeah, you absolutely could. That would be a way of doing it. So like, hang on, let's see if I can zoom in. That's where I think I did the best lightning I ever did. And that is a combination of various different blues and things. On old Dante. And that's drawn on over a real dark base, basically. With some blending going on through the blues. So you could check out this video and see if that's something you want to add. Bombhead Brian. Yeah, you can do that if you like. That'd be very flattering. That was Dante. How many more Deathwing you have left? Oh, I'm doing these. So it's these three. It's these three that I'm currently midway through doing. These bad boys. That's the one we just did. You made the right choice, Lord Commander Joe. Bastion. Bastion Joe. Joe Carthalos. I love that model. So he is rightfully the leader of my Hammers of Sigmar. Lord Commander. Hi, Liberty Fires. I can't wait to see your Blood Angels Plopsicorn. Bastion Carthalos, Lord Commander of the Hammers of Sigmar. Away you go, my lad. I have put that in at a completely stupid angle. Ow. How are you, Liberty Fires? So yeah. Oh, I need to put that back in. So yeah. I've also got the Watcher in the Dark and the Teleport Homer to do as well for these. Haven't done those yet. So yeah, tonight's job will be finishing off 3 Deathwing Knights, a Watcher in the Dark, and a Teleport Homer, so that the unit's done. That way I can have the video ready for Saturday, and I can move on to the next stuff I need to do. It's not a lot of work done, but as you can see, it takes a little bit of time to do the highlights. So I shall return to a state of being of not being Ghost Josh, and I shall once again return to being the Talking Head Josh, where guys, can I just say you've absolutely crushed it? 89 likes. Thank you. And I haven't really been asking. I've just been telling you how much I love you. Maybe I should do this every week. Speaking of love, here's Adam. I know you paint a lot, but wondering, do you still play the hobby? And if you do, what games do you play / favourite armies in each game? I haven't played in ages, and I really want to play some more. My favourite game to play is Age of Sigmar, hands down. It has been for a long time, to be honest. But I play Slaves to Darkness, Stormcast Eternals, Sylvaneth. I want to take the Cities of Sigmar out for a stroll. Flesh Eater Courts I want to have a go with. Soulblight Gravelords I want to have a go with. I just love playing Age of Sigmar. It's my favourite. Lick that like button for more Josh love. I mean, you guys have licked it. 98. We're 2 off from 100. 1 off from 100. Oh. Actually, think about it. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the video next week. What should I do next week? Something quick. Ah! Astrolith Bearer. I already knew. Because Belial will be out tomorrow. Deathwing Knights out on Saturday. Astrolith Bearer next Thursday. Tomb King skeletons. I'd love to be able to get the skeletons all done. It's a lot of skeletons to do though. I'm working on it, slowly but surely. But I'm trying not to, like I said earlier in the stream, I'm I'm trying to be really kind to Josh, and so I'm not forcing the issue with the Tomb Kings. That said, I did get an email today, and I don't know if anybody has seen it on Instagram, but I did get an email today saying that my Cetra the Imperishable and Cetra Imperishable and Tomb Guard are on the way. So maybe we could get Cetra done. Could be another opportunity for a hobby update vid, as in like a collection showcase type thing. I do need to do a video that is a review. I was thinking about next Saturday, maybe. Actually, no, maybe that could be Thursday's video. Just doing a video that is a review of my setup. My epic setup. And any possibilities you could do different variations of how to paint skeletons, that would be cool. Yeah, so my plan is with the skeletons is to do 3 different recipes for painting skeletons to create variation in the army so it looks cool. I've still got orders for Bretonians and Tomb Kings outstanding. Cetra and Tomb Guard have been dispatched, but other stuff hasn't. My books turned up, as did the Necrosphinx, as you guys know. I would do the Necrosphinx for next week, but I think that's a little bit more involved. So yeah, I was thinking about doing a video that is just a kind of here's some stuff you guys might like to see, like those Vallejo brushes and the Water Plus from Instar Paints. You know, stuff like that. Any KO plans at all? Yeah, so I've got an enormous Caradron Overlords army in boxes at the moment, and my plan is to do them. Probably to do them next edition at this point, because there's a lot of other stuff in the way of getting to them. But I do have the Ironclad, the Frigate, the Gun Haulers, Thunderers, most of the characters. We've done a couple. I did the old Rules Lawyer and Drekkie Flint. I need a Dwardin army of some description. All access behind the scenes. You want a behind the scenes video of the entire thing? I could do that. That would work. Because you guys always ask me, someone invariably always wants to know where these painted shelves came from. TT Combat. What lights I film under. These are the Niwa lights. I can show you the things I've been wanting to do to upgrade the channel. There is this thing called the Old World. Good point. Dwarven Holds. That would be excellent. Ooh. So, for example, I've got this whole setup here. My intention is once I raise enough cash to get a really good camera to put on this mount so that I can shoot from up here. This is a light I was having a go with. It's alright. It's fine. But little cheeky Rode mic. Active field monitor. So that I can put the camera up, way up here, zoom right in, and have it like so that you can see models like as close as, for example, I mean, just being like this close, for example, it won't focus because it's stupid, but like, so I can shoot models a lot closer up. But for that, I need to just get I just need to get a really good camera with a zoom lens. And for that, I need to save a couple of thousand, I think, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to go as close as a macro lens because that's almost too close. I just want to be able to not lose quality by missing out on the mechanical zoom aspects of the camera because I use my phone to film. But what I'd like to do is graduate this over to palette cam, and then so you get a really high quality palette cam so I can show you the mixes and things, and then put in a really good mirrorless or compact system that actually does the capture of the actual painting. I was looking it up today, Cameron. And I couldn't figure out how to put a bar in without just putting in like another like text thing like this, and then just doing that, and then going, yeah, it's just ballsed up. Oh, yes, it won't do it. So yeah, I wanted to put in a pretty graphic. I also need to figure out the budget. I think I can probably get a decent camera for about 1,500. Not decent, that's an exceptional camera for what I make. Probably do it for less, actually, to be honest. Maybe 1,000. I also keep trying to think of like functional upgrades I can make to like improve streaming, improve filming, this, that, and the other. But I've got the mic, the active field monitor, the lighting's all good. I need to slightly improve the photography bay because I need to basically get a stand. It sounds stupid, but I need to get a stand that can put the turntable on, that it will rotate in a nice even space, and then I need to change how I light things a little bit to get it a little bit slightly more eye accurate, but also just for the models to look even better on the screen. I really like the spinning dais, however you say it. The problem, the trouble is having space to think about it. In my head. What I need is a quiet week where I'm not doing very much so that I can sit and focus on things like that. Because when I've got Deathwing Knights to paint, for example, I can't allow computing power in here to create the space for me to think about it and sort that stuff out. And I'm very guilty of letting the painting get in the way of that, and then I end up just being like, ooh. You mean a lazy Susan? Yes. would be tax deductible, yes, Doogie. Because it's an expense for the channel. What are you thinking camera-wise? So the one I filmed, so this one that you're on now, is a Sony A6300. Really like this camera. It's ideal because its autofocus is supposed to be great, which it wasn't doing very well at the beginning, but it has been fine since I turned it off and on. What I was thinking about was either an A7 III or possibly moving to Canon and picking up an EOS R. Something like that, maybe. I also really like the Sony A6700. I love the look of it. I think the quality of footage that it captures is very nice. They are quite expensive though. So with a kit lens, it's $15.99, $1,599. Good night, Chris. We'll be heading off ourselves very shortly. So yeah, it's a. I'm not. You know, I'm a good. The Sony A7C. I don't know that one. Sony A7C. Oh wow. That's quite the expense. How's its video capture? 4K 30p max. Okay. Because if I get a decent enough camera, I can shoot in 1080p, but much closer. Right now I shoot in 4K 60 FPS because it's the highest thing, and if I need to zoom in, I can. I'm not sure which version I'm looking at. 2 years ago, the A7C. Oh yeah, the A7C2 is $2,099. Brr. Oh, it's very nice. It's got very warm footage. Interesting. Good night, Plopsicorn. I'm glad we could make your week. You guys make my week every week. Hey, Cass. Late to the party, what have I missed? You missed the compliments fest earlier. I was telling everybody how much I love you. Wind back to the beginning and you can see me be very, very nice. I will investigate properly in the donation bar and I will figure out exactly what camera I want to get. This year we can get super professional. Hey Simeon. How you doing? Unfortunately guys, we're pretty much wrapping up now. It's 11:15. I'm doing very well. I'm doing incredibly well, and I'm a happy boy. And I wanted to celebrate that with you, because you guys make me happy. Quiet the inferno within. Oh yeah, I was going to check the model completion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25, 41, 42, 47, 48, 49. Yeah. Yeah, no, I try and look all over the place to see if I can get a decent deal. Like CEX is generally quite good for finding second-hand camera gear as well. It's really just about finding the best one. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap up there. Thank you guys very much for listening to me tonight. We will be back tomorrow with a painting tutorial for Belial. This chongus. He's got one of my hairs attached, because of course he does. So this video will be out tomorrow, and on Saturday you'll be able to see the full Deathwing Knights, even though we did that sword, which isn't a great camera angle to show it at, but Sony FX3, okay. But yes, I will see you all very, very soon in the next one. This might sound dumb, but with someone who's got back into the hobby after a while, basing tutorials updated would be amazing. I've got quite a few basing tutorials, but I'll see what I can do. Bear Studios. Anyway, take care, everybody. Love you very much. You're the best community in the world. Best ever. I adore you. I love you. I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye for now. You get the wave of Black Templar and Black Legion. I will keep looking after myself as long as all of you keep looking after yourselves, because I love you all. Bye for now. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.